So, as you know, I'm a dwarf, and clan and family are very important to a dwarf, and unfortunately, I don't know who my clan and family are. I'm an orphan. So, I've been thinking that if I connect with my skills, you know, if I can find what I'm really good at, that might give me a clue as to like what I've inherited from my clan. Am I from a stonesmithing clan, or a jeweler clan, or an artisan clan? So, I've done some art, and I want your opinion on my art. I think I might be from an artisan clan.
Uh-oh.
So, and as I'm showing my art, I'll tell you what happened, just to make sure I understand what you all told me happened last night. So.
The scribe is trepidatious.
So, we have Artemisia. Artemisia was in her little shop that she runs for Illyra Nathalin, who has been gone from Westgate for some time now. She's a very powerful and mysterious lady who some of us like and some of us don't. Anyway, Artemisia is running her shop because she's very fashionable when in pops Shay Darksong. Hello! And Shay says, you need to go meet Illyra at midnight because she's back in the city, and I told her what a great job you're doing. And she said, oh, thank you very much. So she gets a carriage, and she goes to gather the party and go to meet Illyra. Meanwhile, Caleth, Caleth is in her horse's stable, sleeping there because she's kind of avoiding Artemisia because she owes her some rent. Anyway, she's there, and who pops in? Shay Darkson. Oh, hello! You need to go meet Illyra at midnight. And I really like your boyfriend. He's looks kind of half dead, and I think that's cool. So then we meet Stong McGuck. Aye, what do you think? Very stunning likeness, aye? So,
very good.
We meet Stong, and Stong is a half-orc bard, and he has very low charisma, but amazingly rolls very high every time he tries to seduce or perform. Anyway,
Real life luck skills.
Stong is singing a song which has now swept across Westgate, the Jiggle Jiggle Bounce song, which if you watch episode 1, you'll greatly enjoy.
Now,
and in the audience is Rogar Battlebairn, that's me. He's a dwarf cleric, and he's returned to Westgate after being away for a while. So he's come back, and he's like, oh yeah, song, great song. And then across the street at their apartment where Stong and Sturge live is Sturge, also known as Crab and Glear. He's an arcane trickster. And Sturge is helping the lady who runs an orphanage in their apartment upstairs. Illegally, that he secretly funds so as not to ruin his reputation as a very sinister person. Anyway, and the lady's attacked by a dark, mysterious, cloaked figure. Now, I didn't have time to make art for everything, so I went to the bookstore that Caleth recommended, and I got this little book. And so it's a dark, mysterious, cloaked figure that attacks the lady, and then they get in a fight. Ooh, and he runs up the side of the building, and Sturge chases him up the side of the building, which Rogar and Stong see, and they go running across the street and chasing him up the side of the building. And there's lightning flashing, and it's dark, and it's all very dramatic. Oh, sorry. And then they're having this great battle. Artemisia and Caleth arrive, and they like blow in the door, and they run upstairs, and they're all on the roof, and the guy's gone. This person's just disappeared. And but there's a great swirling mist on the rooftop, and out of the mist steps Cecilia. Cecilia is a witch, and definitely not a warlock.
Definitely not a warlock.
Definitely not pacted with an archfey.
Definitely not pacted with an
He's been
archfey.
Working for these past months and has been gone from Westgate, but now has returned.
They're just good
and
friends.
Everyone rejoices. Yay, yay, yay. And then they all go to the aforementioned meeting with Illyra. Oh wait! I almost forget. A wolf steps out of the portal as well, silver white wolf, which was pretty cool. And then so they go and meet Illyra, who also known as Fox at Twilight. And Illyra tells them that she is being accused of these murders by this mysterious cloaked figure because it so happens that the murderer's method of killing is a kiss of death. He has a necrotic damage when he kisses people, or she kisses people. We don't know. And she reveals, danger! When she touches things, they die. So Illyra hires our crew to go and investigate this murder and find out who is this mysterious figure who's killing everybody. And we were like, okay, we'll do it. And that is what happened last night, at least as I remember it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, and what do you think of my art? Be honest now.
At
Am I an artist?
Oh, I think you definitely got some artisan in you.
At what point in the adventure did someone strap a dead cat to Stong?
Oh, right, that's his Dr. Miller bill, and I thought I'd caught her quite nicely.
It really captures her essence.
I think so. Thank you, Kayla. Well, for Rogar's recap, I thought I'd put on Rogar's recap. And so this week I thought I'd try poetry. So here we go.
Like all those courses. Poet course.
I'm very interested in what you think. Here we go. Hired by Ilra to find Westgate's killer. Our only hope is to speak with the dead. But by luck we know a necromancer, Aiden, who Caliph tells us gives great lectures at the college. So to the morgue we go, seeking cryptic clues. But the dead attack. Grr, arg. And yet between us, we defeat them with help from Radagast, a paladin quite interested in Rogar's personality. Oh, my rune writing's terrible. Anyway, in the morning we're to call on him in a fest hall. But till then Sturge works his contacts at the docks. Rogar and Stong drink and sing songs, where Rogar lets slip he might prefer to forget everything he's saying. Oh, I was so drunk, it was so embarrassing, I'm so sorry folks. Anyway, for entering House Vamos, Sturge learns a sneaky way, where another kiss of death victim with clues may lay. And a shadowy figure they spot on the roof, different from the killer for whom they seek proof. And finally to the fest hall, they go seeking their luck, but find Radagast murdered. Guess Rogar and he won't investigate together, which really sucks, you know. That's very sad. Hi.
Nice.
So, what do you think? I admit, hearing it, I don't quite have the whole meter and rhyme thing down clearly.
The rhyming is fantastic.
The rhyming really is terrible. But yeah, you think I might have a bit of scold in my family line there?
It's possible.
Definitely.
Well, thank you. So as you know, I'm trying out different talents to see what I have naturally, point me towards my family and clan since I don't know it. Last time I tried poetry, that seemed to go not great, and the art not great. But this time I think I found it. Inspired by my friend Stong, I thought I'd try a bit of song. But actually, I'm sorry, I'm a little warm. Let me just take this off really quick here.
It's happening.
Oh, wow.
Right. So, right, okay. So
Excellent.
I'll need your help with this because, of course, the dwarves, we tend to sing great ballads in the halls with our mouths dum 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 kind of a song. So I'll need you to maybe if some of you could hum sort of along the melody for me, and it just goes like this. Dum 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 dum. All right, keep going. We hunt a killer, yeah. Giving deadly kisses in Westgate. Hired by Ilra. She's she to clear her name and investigate. Well, Radagast the paladin tried to help us out. That was a nice lad he was. But he got murdered too and caused Rogar to doubt because of his mystical religions.
Very
If
sad.
his feelings for the paladin brought the man's death about, no. Zetzelia was told him that Lilton left the six-fingered mark on her arm. The fat from her sister she's holding, since Artemisia's loving that sun elf's charm. Aiden was taken away, her necromantic boyfriend, by Eye of Justice Levy. Ten God Caleb played. Hi, I'm Caleb. But the captain, they believed in ya. Well, they barely escaped the hall of justice did she possibly fly? So weird, she's got wings, but she never seems to fly. And Aiden asked her to suck his life force, but she wouldn't try. No, 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 no. Practice safe necromancy, folks. Well, we're going still. Keep going.
How many more pages?
So the house vamos we go. A party for Ilra. We're going to crash. For in their crypt below, we hope to find clues so the killer will catch. And Sturge disguised himself as a child of Artemisia and Lilton's loving.
Mummy.
That was creepy but wild. Still soon through the party crowd we're a-shoving. House Vamos is dangerous, their own mother they sell. Aye, and they're throwing a party for Ilra, what does that say? And about Retagast death, Justice Levy as mad as hell. I think Ilra's the murderer. Is this going to end well? No, 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 no. Everyone! No, 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 no.
Absolutely not.
All right, you're all caught up now. And I'm so sorry about that. But I think maybe I heard there's this contest down in Om they've started, Omnican Idol or something like that. Do you think? I think I should give it a try. I don't know. Anyway.
I think you should, but I think we need like a conductor next time or something. We got a little out of
that was
sync.
horrible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So, the last couple of adventures, we've had a lot of disguised self going on. Sturge disguised himself as Levia, then Kelith disguised herself as Sturge, and then Artemisia. Anyway, so I thought, why not give it a shot myself? And so, I'm just going to do a little disguised self. Now, I know we had official portraits painted, but I couldn't find them, so I went back. I raided your rooms, I admit, and took some older pictures of you that I think might reflect your characters a little bit. So,
Hi, I'm Stong, half-orc bard from the Cormyr Swamps. I made stew for brunch at Artemisia's house for all my friends in the Westgate Irregulars. You're all my friends.
Best friend.
Your song kind of sounds like Yano.
I'm Artemisia, sorceress, and Shadowbane crashed our brunch to apologize to everyone for the Eye of Justice and said he'd reveal the identity of the Kiss of Death killer if we met him at midnight at a fest hall. So I took our party to the fest hall to meet Shadowbane, and on the way, I do not apologize, but rather suggest to Sturge that when he disguises himself, he find a way to let us know so he doesn't get hit by, oh, say, lightning bolt from a very stylish sorceress.
Good idea.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Rogar, dwarf cleric. At the fest hall, Shadowbane reveals that the Kiss of Death killer is known as the Twilight Knight, or Twinight as I call him, a leader of the Night Masks, who are apparently a gang of thieves and vampires in the city. Also, ask Shadowbane about this flaming sword that used to belong to that nice paladin-led Retagast, and that came to me magically. He said it chose me, but also chose that evil ball bag, the Twinight. And whenever I'm not holding it, it goes back to that wee bastard. So I summoned it, but when I did, I felt Retagast's ghostly hand on my own. And then the shadowy forms of the Bogglewumps appeared and got in the way of Shadowblare's light, which is no good. Anyway, even though I've had some experience playing with another man's sword, I didn't think this one's for me, and the responsibility a bit more than I can swallow at this time.
Was that Retagast?
Okay. I'm Calith, a winged elf blade singer. And I take Cecilia to a library to help her research about the six-fingered brand on her arm, and I'm not at all tempted by all the books on necromancy. Speaking of necromancy, I think I need to get away from my boyfriend Aiden for a bit and decide how I feel about him now that I know he's a member of House Vamos. Also, my views and opinions on necromancy do not reflect those of the Blade Singers of Faerun.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm Cecilia, not a warlock, as you can tell by my totally legit witch's mask. So, you've never been to Rashomon, so you can't say it's not. So Mirren comes along and teleports me and Kaleth and Jigglewolf to her tower and gives me a book which reveals that this brand on my arm is by some demon fae with antlers and a bad sense of personal space. But of course, the page is torn, so I can't even read its name, which totally sucks! And then, poof, some elf guy shows up in a cloak made from a red wizard robe, like I need any more reminders of that nightmare month of my life, and he's wearing a wolf skull on his face, and is like, me and you are connected by our patron or whatever, I'm the knight, and you're the emissary, and oh, by the way, I'm hunting a wolf who is a traitor. Coincidentally, Jiggly Wolf has made himself scarce, so yeah. I totally sent the Little Red Riding Wolf boy away and told him I'd talk to him later at my sister's shop. Yes. Speaking of family, I'm Sturge, also known as Crabben Gleer, human arcane trickster and actor. On this same day, I received letters written between my family in Cormanthyr a century ago. They are the first real lead I have found about the mystery of where I come from. I mean, I recently found I had a brother, but he was killed and turned into a ghoul, perhaps by someone associated to the Night Masks. The letters point me toward an abandoned town called Prost on the Dragon Coast, so maybe I'll find out why I have an 8-inch nose. Allow me to insert an awkward joke about penises.
Oh my god. Yeah. Yes, it happened.
Okay, so our Westgate Irregulars are in the city of thieves, vampires, and pirates. Har! Will they stay there and deal with their many personal issues or escape on a quest to Prost to investigate Sturge's family? Stay tuned to find out. Wink, wink. Hashtag thirst picture. Oh, that was weird. I was just taken over by like some sort of omniscient narrator. Anyway. And, well, you know, I'm trying out different things, different skills. I tried poetry, I tried song. Neither of those were great. So I thought maybe I'd pull it down a little bit and I'd try something for the wee bairns. I heard this person doing the poetry in the marketplace. He's like dwarf or Seuss or something. Anyway, so I thought I'd give it a try. So here we go. This is based on our recent adventure, and I hope you enjoy it. 1 letter, 2 letters, dusty letters 3. Sturge got some letters. Oh, what can they be? They're from his long-lost family. The letters are like history. He hopes we'll solve the mystery. The history, mystery, the zing-zang zistery of how a human so weird, with neither bits nor beard, came to be. Sturge followed his nose to the town of Prost. The town of Prost on the Dragon Coast. Sturge followed his 8-inch nose. That's quite a nose to rock. But the nose, I suppose, is not quite a cock-a-wobbly-roo. But who needs a wobbly-roo that is cocked? When you have a cleric who likes to talk. Rogar is a cleric that likes to talk. Talk to Sturge about how to adore all. So Sturge blush and try to ignore all of Rogar's drawn pics of fun chicks doing orally zimbambi. Zimbambi? No, zimbamboo. To Prost the whole party heads off to. Riding wumpily bumpilies and hoppity clops, they arrive to find orcs have set up shops. Orc shops selling pork chops and all kinds of woozily boozily hops. The orcs offer a chest made of gold so pretty to find what terror beneath this city, what meanly, fiendily under the city is eating orcs with nay itty pity. So down in the dungeons they scrawl so boldly to find Sturge answers and win good goldily. But they hit a small hitch a hitch that's a lich that's at Celia tongues.
What?
And a gem,
You had to be
it's
there.
true, and a gem Sturge finds that traps his mind, showing visions of a lich pretty and young. But in the end, they end up friends, and the lich tells Sturge they're related. The gem responds to his lineage, but before we can finish, that's brilliant rhyming right there, folks. Artemisia disappears faster than an imp with fears, leaving only her ring, which drops with a pingity-ping. A riddle that truly stumps. Oh, fiddly zumps. Fiddly zumps? No, fiddly twisters. Artemisia and Cecilia are sisters. Sisters by different misters, who met that morn at a shop full of frilly-frou foinkles, and found a hot elf knight Artemisia'd like to boinkles. And by boinkles, I totally mean dress up nice. But he cannot pay Artemisia's price, and he is sent by Cecilia's not a patron, hunting Jiggle Wolf like a mean boo-boo wankin'. So to the arena they sended he, for Artemisia's second identity is a leader of a fighting team that all wear masks and blow off steam by bashing and bapping and zappity bolting to earn some fame under fake names like Smashing Basher and Wibbly Wames. Oh, what fin fun faulting. But what next came? What next came with the fiendly fiend and the goldity gold, the pingity ring, and the hints Sturge was told? I guess we'll find out, for that to be the game. So, Cecilia, I heard you mentioning idle champions, which is odd because, you know, it seems like everybody's talking about them. I was in the market preaching the word of Shar Indlar and all to the peoples, but everybody was just buzzing about these idle champions. I guess a group of like heroes who are just stomping up and down the Dragon Coast, killing monsters and mad wizards and such. It's crazy. But anyway, so a lot of the artists and creators in Westgate have been inspired to create Idle's champion products. And so, and the amazing thing is, almost all of it's free. Like, I can't believe they're just giving the stuff away, right? So anyway, I brought some home, and here's why. Like, well, first of all, I managed to get a couple of the free, like, you know, cool figures for us to play with. I got Bruiner, who is a dwarf, which is obviously the coolest race. And I got Celeste, who is a cleric, which is obviously like the coolest class. And anyway, but here's what I brought this home for us, is because I thought we could use it, right? I know you remember a while ago I made some art, and it's not the greatest, but anyway, like here's one of Artemisia. And I was thinking we could use this to like relive some of our past adventures and explore different strategies and stuff. So for example, like I think it was yesterday, like Artemisia was fighting in the arena, and her and like Stong were like fighting, and fighting, fighting the Raging Sorrel, this really cool and dangerous woman, and then Stone got injured. Oh no! Somehow he got injured. We'll talk about that later. And then Artemisia is like, oh, that's okay. I can fight by myself. You know, I'll take on an opponent. I think I'm ready. And so she was all ready to go. And then Sorshin comes in. Sorshin's this wolf knight guy who likes to wear a wolf mask, and seems obsessed with Cecilia. Like he's like, I'm your knight and you're my emissary, and by the way, I'm hunting a wolf, and it's not good. Anyway, so Sorshin comes in, he's like, I want to help, and she's like, okay, fine, how are you gonna help? And Sorshin's like, I know, I'll help by making them attack you with 3 manticores. And she's like, oh, great, yeah, that's the kind of help I need, thanks so much. So anyway, but when there was this huge battle, the manticores were like spikes and claws and things, and Artemisia's like, pew, 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 with lightning and magic missiles, and Sorshin's all like, I'll stab you with my sword, I'll stab you with my sword. And then they killed all 3 manticores. But here's the thing, it was a really close battle, right? And I think this is where we can kind of learn from the Idle Champions, because the Idle Champions, from all I've heard the buzz in town, the thing that really makes them stand out is their ability to use formation strategy, right? Like they're very good at figuring out what the strengths and weaknesses of each of their party members are, and then sort of, you know, placing themselves within the party and working together to enhance each other's abilities. So for example, let's just say we have a sorceress who likes to throw lightning bolts and sleep spells around, all right? So let's say that you place her at the back of the party. When you do so, you'll see these little green lines that show you all of the party members she might affect with her magical abilities.
What a useful thing.
I know, right? So, for example, let's say she throws a lightning bolt. Oh, we can see she might hit Stone, our half-orc bard, with that lightning bolt and singe him a little bit. Or she might hit Sturge, right? Which, of course, he probably is in disguise self, so he probably is asking for it. But still, she might hit Sturge, right? So she's in the back. Or let's say she throws a sleep spell, and she might hit the friendly and very good-looking dwarf cleric in the party at the front and knock him out. In fact, she might do this a couple of times, to the point where the party's like, oh, you must have been bit by sleep rats. And then the poor dwarf starts thinking there's such a thing as sleep rats, just for a random example.
Just hypothetically.
Just hypothetically. So instead, you might want to put the sorceress, say, towards the front of the party. Even though she's a bit squishy, she's flinging about those magics, right? Maybe move the cleric towards the back. So this is the kind of thing I thought we could learn from the Untitled champions. But anyway, and why I think this is important is there was such a close fight against those manticores, and we're going to probably fight things that are much tougher than that. In fact, one of the coolest things I've heard that the Untitled champions fought was a dinosaur from the jungles of Chult. And not just a dinosaur, it's like an undead dinosaur that like spews zombies out of its mouth. I mean, that's pretty gross, but that's like so cool, right? Anyway, but then I was thinking, when I heard this, I was like, what does that remind me of? We recently encountered like a monster, and everything that came out of her mouth was like really nasty and deadly and painful. And so I went ahead and drew this little wig. I'm just going to stick it on here like that. There we go. There, that's better. Now we have Marcellea. This is Artemisia's stepmother, Marcellea. And she, after the battle in the stadium, showed up at Artemisia's house and basically was like insulting and looking down on Artemisia and all of her friends and everything she's done and all of her life choices, and then was like, you have to come with me back to Aglaron to deal with the family business. And Artemisia's like, no, but I'm happy here, and look, I've learned magic. And she's like, so show me. She's like, fine, I'll put a whole person on you, zap! And she's like, oh, brush it off. Because she's very powerful in magic. And Artemisia's like, crap, I guess I got to go home with you. But then Cecilia stepped in. She's like, no, you don't. Get out of here, you stupid cow. This is Artemisia's house. You don't belong here. And Marcellea's like, oh, make me, you uncouth little. And then all of us Westgate Irregulars gathered around Artemisia and were like, no, you get out of here. We've got her back. And Marcellea's like, well, that's a lot of people to fight. Fine, I'm going to leave because I want to. And but I will be back tomorrow, and you are leaving the town with me, whether you want to or not. And that is no good. That's not good. But anyway, so that's kind of was our adventure yesterday. And I did, in addition to this, most of this stuff was free, like I said, but they had a couple of cool, like, super cool figures that I bought that just cost a few silver, and here's why. Like, these two I found were sisters, and so this is, I think, called Frida and Havilar. And from all I heard, like, Havilar likes pretty dresses and is a really good fighter, like you, Artemisia. And Frida likes to blast things, like you do, Cecilia. Of course, Frida's a warlock, and you're not a warlock, right?
Definitely not a warlock.
Not a warlock. But they're very strong sisters, and and support each other. As I saw you two support each other yesterday, which inspired me. And I thought I'd get you this gift. Aww. After all, you got me a bag of teeth. So I thought, I should return the favor and get you a gift as well.
They're top quality.
Yes. So anyway, there you have it. And now, for having listened to me go on about all of this, I will just say that I'll wrap this up as a cleric of Sharinlar to say that obviously we saw Marcellea, your stepmother, was, despite having raised you, was not very loving and not very caring of what you wanted and nurturing of you, yet your half-sister, who you've barely known, a year or two, is very supportive of you and loving and strong. And then you have a whole family that you've known barely a year in the Westgate Irregulars who had your back and were very supportive. So I think what we learn from this is, family can be blood, but it can also just be whoever loves and supports you and wants you to fulfill your dreams and support you in the best possible way. And that supports a happy and healthy life. And Sharinlar very much approves of that. And so for having listened to all of this, you now get 7 temporary hit points for the day.
And since Rogar's not here today, Sturge is in charge.
Oh, no.
Sturge is in charge
Oh,
of
my.
the recap. Sturge, as you know, is an actor and puppet master.
He means that literally, by the way. Yeah. Oh, boy.
So, shout out to the Mount Lake Terrace Drama Department for the loan of the puppet, and nationally award-winning drama department, I might add.
Is that a cigarette in your puppet's mouth?
What? All right.
Kids.
Let's do it.
And Jeannie Bursvik, who specifically dug this out for me. So, Sturge is not involved in this. It's just this. Hey, it's great to be here. I'm Sister Buffett, priestess of a temple of Sharindlar in Watergate. You probably heard of it. So, I know Rogar. I owe him a favor. Said I'd do this for him. You may have heard of me. The Mother Superior put me in charge of the procreation re-education program for the dwarvish school. Because, as you know, the dwarves, they got a lot of problems with not enough of them. You also might be familiar with my slogan for the whole program. The only sin is abstinence.
Those letters are in the word abstinence, yes.
Yeah, and you remember those anti-abstinence promise rings. That was me too. Anyway, enough about me. Rogar had this thing he wanted me to do. So yeah, last episode, Artemisia, the lady Artemisia, she had some real trouble. There was, mostly it was her evil stepmom. That lady, what a bag. Well, she come and says, look, Artemisia, you gotta come home with me because I own you, see? And Artemisia is like, this lady's got strings attached to her like a puppet, like. And she puts Artemisia in this tizzy. Artemisia's all like, yeah, I gotta go back with my mom. And then I guess that's what I'm doing, I better pack my bags. And then Cecilia's like, no, sister, you gonna come back, you gonna stay right here, you gonna tell that lady off. And so then Artemisia's back and forth and back and forth. And then we all figures out that that lady, Marislaya, something like that, she's got like divination powers. That's bad. So first thing in the morning, they all take Artemisia to Mirren. Mirren puts an anti-magic spell on her so she's free, no messing around with no divination spells inside her head. And we all went and they met with Marcelea. That bag, she is one cruel hat. So, guess what happened? Artemisia's like, gonna go home with mom. No, I'm not. Gonna go home with mom. No, I'm not. And then in the end, she told that old bag to jump in the lake. That was something. And then she went home, back to the place. Oh, I forgot too. There was that dog, that Jiggly Bob, and he was, there was that mean dude chasing him around. Shenanigans or something, Shooshang. And so Mirren disguised him real good. So he looked like a little puppy. And now everything's cool. Oh, I think that's it. I believe
I got stabbed!
Someone got poisoned.
That's right.
And there was a riot.
What?
And there was a riot.
There was a. Oh, and yes. And when they saw the Marcelea, it was she was out in the street and she was looking pretty worse for the weather because there was a riot and somebody blew up the hotel. Very mysterious.
And then someone got stabbed.
And somebody got stabbed.
And poisoned.
And poisoned.
Cecilia.
Celia, yeah. All right. My duty has been discharged. Till next time, people. Keep it real.
Thank you for that, Sturge.
Yay! So, based on last week's recap, I was inspired. I thought I don't have a puppet from my 5th period drama class, but I thought I'd just use this.
What's his name again?
This? I'll tell you his name.
Oh.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Sturge's half-brother, Smurge. I'm definitely not a doppelganger. Yeah, you can tell we're brothers because of the big nose, right? Yeah, except for, of course, mine's thicker. Always made this guy jealous, but, that's all right. I always told him, hey, don't worry, you're plenty thick. Anyway, so the recap thingy. Cecilia was poisoned. Oh, no, that's terrible. And the little dog, too. Oh, that sucks. And Rogar, that freaking awesome dwarf cleric, he was in jail. Whoa, bummer. So the party, they go and try to get some help from this Illyra chick, because she's got poison in her veins. And so she'd know all about poison. And I gotta tell you, that chick could suck the poison out of my vein anytime she wants, if you know what I mean. Oh, but seriously, folks. All right. So she tells them the poison's from, like, the night masks, which ain't good. And that you're gonna start bleeding from all kinds of places you shouldn't be bleeding from. And she's gonna die pretty soon unless they get the antidote, which, So they go to Artemisia's stepmom, which is a real bummer because she's not a good person. And she tells them, that they got to go down into the Temple of Steel under the city to find the antidote. And in exchange for this information, of course, they got to do her a big favor and find all the stuff from her that the Night Mask stole. So that's kind of a bummer too. But and then meanwhile, Sturge, this fashionably challenged person over here, and Caliph, that winged elf chick, they go to this alley with a bunch of dead Night Masks and use Aiden to talk to the ghost. But the ghosts tell them that they got to go to this Temple of Steel and face the Twilight Knight, also known as the formerly artist known as the Kiss of Death Killer. Yeah, that's it. So so this is horrible. So
you say that now.
Yeah. I really should have rethought this. All right. Brother, I think I figured out why, by the way, we got these big noses.
What?
I figured it's because, like, our dad, he's a total dictator and ruling the family. And so our mothers, they probably was like, you know what? I'm going to, curse our sons. So they got this phallic noses. So every time our father looks at our faces, he's reminded that he's a total dictator. So anyway, they go into the city and they find a door that's sealed by a god named Gargolalots or something. I don't know what it is. But yeah. And so they figure out his name, the door's open, and there they got an underground temple, which is like, what do you call a holy temple that's under the ground? I don't know. A glory hole, I think, right? So, of course, Sturge is like, holy mackerel, I gotta be the first one in there. So he jumps in and steps on a trap. And boom, 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 cliffhanger. That's where we ended, I think, right? But, except for there was this little side scene by the omniscient narrator voice god guy who was all like, what do you call those little side scenes where it's like seasoning the story? Oh, like a vinaigrette. So you got this vinaigrette. And in the vinaigrette, we see Hand the Footman, except for, he's got Sturge's little wand there. So he's like a doppelganger. Except for I'm not clear if he is a doppelganger or if Hand the Footman's a doppelganger or if he's just pretending to be Hand the Footman. Anyway, he talks to some guy we don't know, but we didn't see any of that or hear any of that, so we don't know any of that, except for you know that, but we don't know that, so just remember that. All right, cool. And I think that's where we left off. Thank you. Oh my God, that was terrible. So actually, I was down at the tavern, down at the docks, Big Edna's, and I ran into an old friend of ours. And he said, I told him about our adventures, and he said, I'd love to write a song about that. So I said, sure, come on in. And so I'll just bring him in. Hold on 1 second.
Uh-oh.
Hi, yeah, hello, I am Dieter.
Oh, no.
I'm a mountain dwarf, as you could tell by my accent. I am not a gold dwarf like Rogar, but and I am a bard, and I have adventured with these lovely people. They are so good looking. Yeah. Anyway, except for Sturge, of course, my little carrot-nosed cupcake. But so I thought I would sing a song for you. Here we go. We got the power. We got the power to make you smile. We got the magic to charm the slarn out of you a while. Kick the nade
out of every enemy we fight. And that savings roll we made was to save you from a boring night. Westgate Irregulars. With dungeon scrawl all over the place. Westgate Irregulars. With dungeon scrawl up in your face. We're a group of authors. We got rich stories and character arcs and sexy NPCs. So you know some lovin's about to spark. And we'll dominate Westgate to earn gold and experience points to spend. And together we'll love, fight, hate. To harass glory or the mother to win. And Westgate Irregulars. You know, scroll all over the place. Westgate Irregulars. With dungeon scroll up in your face. We got a warlock who is powerful and wild. We got a half-orc bard who's got a devilish little child. We got a sorcerer who's never out of style. We got a nosy rogue whose tricks will make you smile. We got a winged elf who loves books and the possessed. We got a cleric who is on a deep, quick, exotic quest. We got a DM who is tallest and the best. With Dungeon Scrawlers, we rule northeast, south, and west. Westgate Irregulars. With Dungeon Scrawl all over the place. Westgate Irregulars. With Dungeon Scrawl up in your face. Woo! Yeah! Woo! Yeah!
Job, Randy.
I might have texted Randy some realm swear words.
You did, yes.
What was that? yeah, you like that? It was a good song, yeah, you like that? I thought we talked about you doing like a recap song. Like, you remember we were in the tavern and I told you all about, like, you know, Marcelea, Artemisia's stepmother, who she was all being controlling, and then she got attacked by night masks, and then the night masks poisoned Cecilia and Jigglewolf, and so we had to go into this temple under the city and fight night masks, assassins, and enchanted weapons, and Sturridge stole a bunch of crap, of course, and then we faced off against this halfling vampire named the Duchess of Venom and got the antidote for Cecilia, and you were going to write a song about that, right? Oh, yeah. That's all, like, you know, stupid fighting and stuff like that. But this, like, dancing and fun. And I thought this song would make people want to, you know, maybe fight in the streets or you know, wrestle in the sheets, you know, whatever you like, darling. By the way, open invitation to everybody, except for you, of course, Sturge, my little phallic-nosed friend. So, what did you think? Right. So I'll just talk to you at the tavern later, Dieter. Thank you very much for coming in, and I apologise to everybody. I don't know what else to say except for we'll just hand it off back to our omniscient narrator, God. Thank you.
Happy April Fool's Day! Hey, as you may have noticed, all of our various players have a different name in front of them because we have decided that in commemoration of the holiday for today, everyone will be playing someone else's character. In order to do the recap, we didn't want to put it all on Rhiannon's shoulders because she's playing Rogar. So we're going to do a group recap. And without further ado, take it away, Rogar.
As Rogar, I unfortunately have some very bad news. I woke up this morning and the dastardly bugwumps had stolen my accent.
Not your accent.
I must soldier on, unfortunately, but that is why, in this case, Rogar's recap is going to be shared among us all because, well, it's just not the same without my voice being how it should be, but there's nothing to be done. What I was doing just last week was, or just last time, I was telling Jigs all about those dastardly bugwumps and how I first found out about them. But then, you know, Stong, he was so worried about his daughter Mirabelle. But, you know, she's no good because when we found her at the end, bad things had happened. So I'll let the others tell you more.
Hi, I'm Erin M. Evans. I'm the author of the Brimstone Angel Saga, like I said before. And today I am Artemisia, half-elf sorceress, tidy, but naked fashion. And currently I am very concerned about my stepmother, who has vanished from the Blue Banner Inn in a terrible event of some sort. And it's very concerning. We're very close, I think. I obviously won't kill her or something.
Hi, I'm Yang Yang Wang. I'm a writer and a filmmaker, and today I will be playing Cecilia Doskaya. Now I'm a little bit under the weather because I was just poisoned in the last episode, and I'm still recovering, so my voice is a little bit different, but I'm ready to get out there and figure out exactly who and where these night masks are and get my revenge.
Excellent.
Okay.
Yes, take it away, Caliph.
Okay.
That's Caliph. He's
okay.
She's here
sure.
somewhere.
Randy Henderson, and I'm playing Caliph Amaker, an Ethereal blade singer. That's a winged elf, and I am always poor and in great debt. We won't talk about why. And also, we won't talk about why I can't seem to get into any libraries, why they always like scream at me when I try to get in. Yeah, and I am absolutely not obsessed with necromancy. But also, the views and opinions expressed in this stream do not reflect those by me, do not reflect those of Emily Tang. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emily Tang. I'm a game designer at Wizards of the Coast. Disclaimer, which already did for me. All thoughts and opinions expressed in this stream are my own and do not represent Wizards of the Coast. And today I am playing Sturge, the long-nosed, light-fingered arcane trickster, who, last time we saw him, I had scampered off in pursuit of something shiny and probably magical. Current whereabouts unknown.
Hi, I'm Stephen Merlino, and today I'm playing Stong. And last adventure, Stong was, he talked a lot with Kalen and gave him some bandages. And he also got really drunk with Kalen and wrote some new music. Kalen really liked it.
Wow, Stoner Stong, all right.
So, leading up to last week, we had, Artemisia's stepmother, Marcellea, came to town to try and take her away, but then she was kidnapped by night masks, and in the process, Cecilia was poisoned, and we invaded a night mask, hideout in order to get the antidote, but we didn't find Marcellea in that process. And then last time, it was April Fool's Day, so we decided to switch around and play each other's characters. So I'm just going to cover. I went to an illusionist in the marketplace. He does these things where he takes two people and tries to put them together to see what your baby would look like, sort of thing. And anyway, I asked him to. So I had composed these pictures as I go through the recap. So since we played each other's characters, here's me as Caliph. I've got her lovely hair
so
and her expression of necromancy. So so I as Caliph, I was about to try flying off a bridge when Aiden showed up in a fancy carriage. So convinced Aiden to sell his family carriage to fun a fun afternoon together. That's what.
Classic Caliph.
Classic Caliph.
I like how in the picture you can still see an edge of my glasses.
Yeah, these are the illusionist didn't take a lot of time on these, I can tell you that. Here we have emo Emily as Sturge. She met the old sea dog dwarf who once transported the party to a pirate ship. Anyway, he gives Sturge crabs. That's unfortunate. Then a card. He gives him a card recovered from a small town that Sturge once visited, and that's the same card from the deck of many things that blocked many of Sturge's memories. So we'll see if anything comes of that. Speaking of Stephen, we have Stephen as Stong. Yang Yang's lovely hair there.
Wow, I feel like I know that person. I've seen that person before.
I know, right? That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, he looks like somebody else.
Is that
It's really
the leader
weird.
of North Korea?
Oh,
It looks a little bit like. I don't know. Us together, I think we make up a Kim Jong.
we become a dictator. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh no! Right. So moving on. Stone got drunk with his babysitting partner Nala, and then gained a new super friend named Narb. And he revealed to Narb that he was the famous arena fighter, the Smashing Basher, which was unfortunate. And even more unfortunate, he promised to get Narb a date with the Bronze Wolf, i.e. Artemisia. So we'll see what happens with that.
Spoiler alert, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, not going to be pretty. Then we had Erin playing Artemisia. She has Rhiannon's lovely red hair there. And she just basically gave out questionable fashion advice to a large number of Artemisia's customers. And then Lilton showed up, also known as Lord Gold, also known as Lord Darden, also known as Artemisia's lover. And he questioned where her ring was, that she always seems to disappear into, and seems just to kind of generally amused by her attempts to avoid answering his questions. Here's one of my personal favorites.
Oh, yes.
Yang Yang is Cecilia.
Hello, chat. I am single.
Cecilia convinced her knight, Sorshin, or at least the person who claims to be her knight, to quote-unquote audition to be her newest bard to replace Stong. And Sorshin performed the Song of Steel, killing most of the bards in the bar and across the city. And then she urged him to challenge Stong to be her favorite new bard. So basically just caused a lot of trouble for Cecilia there, and possibly Stong. We'll see. Looking forward to the fallout from that. And then finally, we have Rhiannon as Rogar.
Wow.
Wow.
Rhiannon preaches
That's
about...
what gave her a migraine.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
So Rhiannon preached about, or Rogar preached about Sharon-Lar in the marketplace very badly. She rolled a 5. So she blames the Bogglewumps for stealing her accent and says that the way to be happy that they should all have babies. And then a Durgar dwarf named Wrath is powerfully swayed by Rogar's words and vows to go forth and form a ministry around the Bogglewumps and his interpretation of Sharon-Lar's will. So again, there'll probably be some fallout from that. But then basically, and then we all headed to the arena, and turned out the whole time we were Bogglewumps. Or not Bogglewumps, sorry, doppelgangers. Who knew? Just as bad. So April Fools. And then we played out our real characters again, and we battled ourselves basically in the arena. And Stong got in a kidney punching contest, and Cecilia and Artemisia blasted away everybody to see who was the real, like, cool Queen of Lightning, right? And then and Lilton melted one of Artemisia's opponents, but from the sidelines we never saw him. And then
Allegedly.
Rogar kept healing poor Caliph, who kept going down, but in the end she got in a good like vampiric attack on one of the doppelgangers and drained quite a bit of life from them. So I guess that's good. And then surprising nobody, Sturge backstabbed, disengaged, and generally robbed a lot of the bodies, I think, at the end. But they captured Stong's doppelganger. Who is Stong spelled backward? I can't remember how to say that, but yeah. And Rogar's really hoping to basically convince that doppelganger of the danger of the Bogglewumps and make him transform into another Rogar so he can spread his ministry twice as fast. So we'll see about that. But that's basically what happened, and that's where we left off. So back to you, omniscient narrator god. Oh yeah. All right, I'll put on the wee cap for the recap. All right, here we go. So last time, so up to this point, Artemisia's stepmother, Marcellea, who's this powerful diviner and rather controlling, came to town to try to take her away, but was instead kidnapped by night masks. And in the whole process of that, we had some adventures, and eventually that culminated in a battle with our doppelgangers of ourselves in an arena.
And then we got transported to a Night Mask lair where Cecilia disguised herself as a high priestess of Shar, and Sturge disguised himself as a doppelganger. And then we basically conned our way into where Artemisia was being held. And then faced off against the Duchess of Darkness, who is all this vampire cleric of Shar and a real tough cookie. She kicked our booty. But in the last moment, Artemisia, in a moment of, I guess, emotional stress, managed to sort of level up and cast a dimension door that ripped a rift in space and time, and we all managed to escape through that, and that's where we left off. So I just wanted to really quickly, as part of the recap, I thought, take advantage of this, that we're traveling through a dimension door, and go through and imagine some of the dimensions some of our characters might have gone through, and see if you can guess them. I'll ask the person I'm reading it to guess, and then if not, the group can guess. And if not, I'm sure the chat will guess. So the first one, for an example, Rogar, I see a fellow dwarf with steel blue eyes and a grey and black beard talking to someone who looks like a 12-year-old boy with a wizened face and a huge top knot of hair, wearing a fur-lined vest. And the young gnomish-looking fellow is tugging a horse closer to the dwarf with a mischievous grin, and the dwarf sneezes like crazy. But he spots me and he says, "Flint, not another dwarf." And the dwarf Flint looks over at me with raised eyebrows and says, "Oh, you're just jealous you can't grow a beard without looking ridiculous, Taz." "Funny," Taz says, and his eyes narrow at me even as his grin widens. "I'm feeling suddenly bored. So, what dimension's that?"
I think I have that book on my shelf, actually.
I Kryn, The World of Dragonlance, created by Weiss and Hickman. All right, so Stong, you think you hear someone say the name Mordenkainen as you pass briefly through a high tower chamber where two wizards are speaking, one gaunt and deferential seeming, the other taller and wearing blue robes with a Van Dyke beard streaked by grey stripes. And you can see laid out below the tower a great city, and even further off the ruins of a great castle. And the smaller, soft-spoken wizard's eyes go wide and he says, "What on earth?" But the second wizard just smiles and says, "Be calm, Bigby. He's simply passing through." Bigby says... Then Bigby says, "Well, perhaps I should lend him a hand." Wink. So, and then you continue on. So, what dimension was that, Stong?
I'm gonna call a friend and just toss it over to the audience.
Anyone?
That was Greyhawk, wasn't it?
That's the world of Greyhawk.
Definitely the world of Greyhawk.
That's created by Gary Gygax. That's right.
That's right.
All right,
I have
Sturge.
that book on my shelf. All right, that's fine.
To have a map of that place, it was pretty big too.
All right. I want to hear Sturge's.
Yeah, Sturge. You manifest briefly on a rooftop. Two men are sitting there and looking out over one of the largest and most dangerous cities you've ever seen. The first is a very tall, barbarian-looking fellow with a broadsword across his knees, and he's singing some song about being free of any rules or ruler. The second is a short, slight man in dark gray clothes who reminds you somehow of yourself. He's making odd signs with his fingers and apparently causing several nearby rats to dance the barbarian song. This arcane trickster-looking fellow glances over at you and says, "Your song has drawn a rat of another kind there, I think, Fafford." Then you continue on.
Nice.
What dimension is it?
That's the Fritz Lieber dimension.
Aye.
The Fritz Lieber dimension. Yeah.
Her dimension.
What's the name of the city, Sturge?
Lankmar.
There you go. There you go.
Nice.
Ding, good job.
Nice.
I think there is a RPG for Lankmar.
Yep, exactly. They did a bunch of tie-in stuff with D&D and some
Was
of the
it
characters and
D&D?
stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. TSR
Well,
did some
D&D
stuff with
owes a lot of genetics to the Fafford and Grey Master stories. So, yeah.
Indeed.
Interesting.
All right.
Like two of our characters. Anyway.
I'm sad Caliph isn't here, but I'll do Caliph and you guys can guess. So Caliph appears in what seems to be the throne room of a Gothic-looking castle. The air is chill, mist swirling around her feet, and she hears a distant scream of pain or horror. A pale, noble-looking man sits on the throne wearing a high-collared black coat lined with red and a blood-red jewel at his throat. He leans forward, his eyebrows raising at the sight of her. Tatiana, he says. Then he scowls as you come briefly into focus. As he meets your eyes, his scowl becomes a smile, though, and you see some predatory fangs. And he says, no, but someone with great promise, I think.
Oh.
So what dimension is that?
Oh my God. Is that Ravenloft?
That's definitely Ravenloft. Yeah.
Ravenloft.
What
Because
the
that
heck?
was
Hickmans and
That's
Bruce
her happy
Smiths and
place.
others.
that was Count Strahd von Zarovich
Checks
right
out,
there.
checks out.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
when you
exactly.
started
Fair.
describing it, I was like, Elrica Melniboné. Move on.
Oh, yeah.
Then the ruby, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. All right, Artemisia. You appear on the deck of what seems to be a large ship, a galleon, though in place of sails it has wings built out to the sides like a soaring bird. You hear a great humming that vibrates the deck beneath your feet and see the peak of a giant pulsing crystal sticking up through the deck in the aft of the ship. But most of all, you feel a dropping in your stomach as you realize you're not on water, but appear to be flying among the stars, towards what looks like the curving wall of a great crystal sphere that spreads out as far as you can see in every direction. And you see a winged figure before you, and at first you think it's Caliph, but she turns and you see she's human with her black hair cropped very short. So what dimension is that?
Lorebot?
I think it's
Spelljammers?
Spelljammers.
That is definitely a
I thought it was
Spelljammer
something
thing.
different at first, but
I'm
the
not sure
melding
if
of D&D and space opera.
I'm not sure if it was something more
hey.
specific, like a specific Spelljammer story.
That
But
one I
yeah,
couldn't
that's
tell you.
definitely Spelljammer.
Well, and that was Jasmine. She's in all that other.
There you go.
Yeah, and that was primarily designed by Jeff Grubb, I believe, who wrote one of my favorite, the Curse of the Azure Bonds. I love that story. Anyway, so and Cecilia, finally, you manifest.
This is gonna be the one I don't know.
Yeah, you manifest briefly in the midst of what appears to be a harsh desert beneath a large and brutal sun. Before you, two figures are battling over what appears to be a fresh kill. The first is a dragonborn wielding a giant obsidian blade. The second is a wizard, except rather than a book, he appears to be holding a knotted string, and as he unravels one knot in the hand, a lone bit of vegetation nearby withers away as lightning builds in his fingers. But then the wizard spots you and his eyes widen. What an Athos, he exclaims, just before the dragonborn takes advantage of the distraction to decapitate him. So, and move on. What place is that? What dimension?
This is what's charming. I was going to say Athos because I can't remember the series name.
All right.
It's the one. It's the prison pentad one. What is it called?
Dark Sun?
Dark Sun. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm like completely blanking.
One of the few ones they made property for the Sega Genesis. There was a Dark Sun game. Anyway, so
Also, there's Eberron, which is great. Done.
Yes, there was also Eberron. That was one of my
Eberron.
follow-ups. I was going back and forth between that and Eberron.
That's
Anyway,
fair. A million years ago, I was the line editor for the Eberron novels, so it's my baby still.
so we all passed through these brief visions of other dimensions, and then I handed off to the omniscient narrator god to tell us where we actually end up. So that is the conclusion.
That was fun. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for that,
was
Randy.
very fun. That was really
I look
cool.
forward to see the guesses in the chat too. And as you know, Idle Champions, the home version, brings together iconic Westgate Irregulars to battle, our enemies. So last time we were stuck in this down in the sewers, but we traveled through this dimension where we each went to our happy place, and then Lilton showed up. That's Lilton.
Oh my gosh.
So Lilton shows up and he's like, "Hello, I am going to seduce you because I am a hot, sexy elf guy."
That's what elf guys do.
And do you want to kiss me? And we're like, no. And Artemisia's like, yeah, maybe. And then and then we got past Lilton, and we're back in the place where we've saved Artemisia's stepmother, Marcelea. And then there's this statue of Shar. Somebody wrote
Char sucks on it. I don't know who would have done that. But right, and then we faced off against the Duchess of Darkness, who's a vampire and definitely not just a badly colored Celeste from Idle Champion. And then
Celeste, what's happened to you?
So we fought her, and then, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but basically, you really need to watch the episode because it was freaking awesome. And then, but basically, she got smashed. And oh no, poor Char's head came off. Such a shame.
There's a strength check right there.
Bye, Char's head. And then that was it. Ta-da! That was it. That was the episode. Right now we are stuck down in the Night Mask lair. And then Caliph showed up. All bloody and covered in losing her feathers out of the bottom room, and what's going to happen next? I don't know. You tell us.
Okay. Take it away, Randy.
I was going to say our audience is keeping us sane, but this is probably going to make them question whether that's true. All right, so, all right, g'day. Actually, I'm Sancho Ponzai, and as you can tell from my accent, I'm actually a gnome from down under the ground, right? And since the Irregulars were basically under the ground for the last 3 episodes or so, I thought I'd do the recap. Actually, I had an ulterior motive, but I'll just do the recap real quick. So they were into a night mask lair under the city, underground, and they defeated a vampire. And then they tried to escape, but they collapsed the ceiling, and wackiness ensued. There was a giant ape. There was levitation. There was Rogar trying to grab like a giant head of Shah. There was a coin lad who was immune to magic. Sturgeon Kayla stole a bunch of maps and documents and stuff, so that's going to piss the night masks off. They'll probably come after us for that, if not the vampire. And but you know, after collapsing half the city on our heads, we got out, or they got out rather, and and then I had an identity crisis there. And then but we got Marcellia free, which I guess is a good thing. Anyway, so
50-50.
50-50. So, right. So the real reason I asked to do this is because, well, you know, I've been gone for a while, and the reason why is I've been busy with my mates setting up a new organisation, the Gnome Equality Movement. GEM.
No. I mean,
oh yes. Why, you may ask? Sturge asks. Well, first, let's just look at your world. I mean, you have elves baking cookies. You have in trees. You have elves making toys in Santa's workshop. You have elves making shoes. You don't just have elves on the shelves. You have elves on the brains, mates. And what jobs do you give to the gnomes? We get to sit around in flower beads as statues. How's that fair? We're the tradies. We're the tinkerers and the workers and the craftsmen. We should be making this stuff. Equal pay, equal work, mate. Anyway, but this attitude, don't even get me started on like Romeo and Juliet and all the gnomes in the Shannara show. They look like those big face creatures from like Star Wars if you left them in the sun too long. What's that about? Anyway, so this attitude, though, unfortunately, carries right over into the Forgotten Realms, which affects me directly. So, you know, what do you call the gnomes in the Forgotten Realms? Literally, they call them the Forgotten Folk. What is that fair? Like, just totally ignored. And hey, omniscient narrator God, you probably know this.
Yes.
Where could you find the gnomes in the original basic edition of D&D?
You know, I've forgotten.
The monster manual.
Oh.
They were not a playable character even. We were monsters.
Ooh.
How's that fair? Yeah, right? So time for some equality here. That's all I'm saying. Now, granted, not every gnome is like aces. I mean, I'm a rock gnome, and I've got some great forest gnome friends. But, you know, we've got river gnomes who basically, let's just face it, they're like the old school Aquaman. They can swim real good and talk to fish. But, you know, they're crap on the land, right? And then you got the Sverfnoblet, or deep gnomes, who are evil little buggers, I'll admit. Especially the name. Try saying Sverfniblin. It's just evil itself. But, whereas it makes them sound like they're some like sub-race of Smurfs, which is exactly the stereotype gnomes definitely don't need, smurf you very much. And finally, they even give our gods like lame names. Like, what's the name of the main gnome god there? Omniscient narrator god?
Mergerbler?
Pretty close.
Is it Garl Glitter Gold?
It is? Yeah.
Oh.
Might as well just call him like Sam
See?
Giggle Garden or
See?
Cutie Pie.
Obviously, I love gnomes.
Okay, you get a pass, mate. So, yeah, okay. So, now, get serious. Now, maybe you've heard the rumor that being so good at illusion and going unnoticed and giving our skill with invention, maybe we have a technologically advanced civilization down under, hidden from all the races. And the reason we seem so absent from the major historical events and campaigns is on purpose. Because we've actually manipulated all the events on the surface world, and we are the puppet masters of all the other races.
You know, I hadn't heard that rumor.
Hey, maybe I just started it.
Okay.
Either way, I can neither confirm nor deny it. So, but my point is, it's time to respect the gnomes. Gnomes, equality for gnomes, gem. If you're a gnome or play a gnome and have experienced this sort of inequality or just being ignored, feel free to tweet us and hashtag that stuff. So, but anyway, that's all I really wanted to get off my chest. Thank you very much for your time. Back to you, Omniscient Narrator God.
Thank you, Sancho Panza.
So, last time, basically, we were recovering. We had fought our way out, and so we needed a long rest. And then we were kind of helping people because somebody collapsed the city. So we were helping a bit with that, managed to head off a gang war, and then went to Ilra, who gave us a quest basically, on the lowdown to deal with Lilton, apparently, because he's apparently a really powerful badass. And Cecilia was very happy to take that quest, I think. But and meanwhile, of course, we know that we pissed off the Night Masks, so they're probably coming for us.
What? No.
I know, right? So
I think they're scared of us.
I mean, it's like you can't kill somebody's leader and collapse their entire lair on their heads without any consequences. What's the world coming to? Anyway, my printer's going off. Just ignore that. Anyway, what I wanted. So since we were so desperate for a rest the last couple of times, I thought I'd talk really quick. I was I wasn't exactly clear on all the rest stuff, so I thought I'd share a little bit of information about short and long rests. Why not? So, really quickly, a short rest is 1 hour during which you just don't do anything more strenuous than eating or drinking or reading, that kind of thing, and you can roll hit dice and add your Constitution modifier to regain hit points, which is cool, I guess. And then Warlocks, of course, get all their spells back. They're super powerful. I wish we had one in our party because that would be very cool. On a short rest, that's pretty sweet. Or a monk who get all their key points back. But anyway, and most people have to take a long rest to get their spells back, and except for sorcerers who have some way around that with sorcerer points or something. I don't know. They're in a frequent sorcerer spell shop or a club or something. I don't get it. But anyway, you can get your channel divinity back if you're a cleric. Short naps are pretty good. And there's this spell called Catnap. I didn't know this. That's a 3rd level spell that you can cast it, and up to 3 people at your base level get the full benefits of a short rest in just 10 minutes.
What?
Which would be, I know, it would be pretty powerful. It'd be pretty handy when you're worn down and you just can carve out 10 minutes to really quick recharge and heal your group. And so that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. And you can take as many short rests as you want in a day. There's 24 hours in a day, I think, in Faerun. I don't know. So that's 24 short rests. Although, of course, if you're a lazy sod, then no one's going to want you in their party if you're just resting all day. I mean, that's pretty useless. A long rest is 8 hours, but you only have to really be sleeping for 6 of that, and then just kind of rest and chilling for 2 of that. But and you regain all of your hit points, and you regain your hit dice that you spent up to half your max. So if you use 6 hit dice and you only get 4 back, well, you're still down 2. So that sucks, but it's not bad. You can only take 1 long rest in a 24-hour period. So anyway, that's all the boring, staty stuff. But I did a bit of research, and I looked up activities that burn the same amount of calories as or less than eating and drinking and reading. So the kinds of things you can do while you're just chilling in a short rest or a long rest. And so, while Caliph is researching necromancy, or folks are reading the Westgate broadsheets, or whatever kind of reading you're doing, you can do also these other things. I mean, of course, you could paint minifigures or sort your dice in the order of good dice, who will get to stay in the nice case tonight, and those who betrayed you and shall be cast out into the cold and probably melted. Or you can listen to Stong's music or one of Sturge's puppet shows. That's pretty passive. That's not bad. Also, I thought knitting and sewing. I can't believe we're not doing more knitting and sewing in our group, because we've just got all this time where we're just chilling, and this is something you can do on a short rest or a long rest. I was thinking, Artemisia could knit like a cute doggy sweater for Jigglywolf, or she'd probably just actually design it and have someone else do it. But Caliph could knit a nice horse blanket for Dumpling. Or I could totally see Sturge, who is very dexterous, secretly knitting little booties for Mirabelle, and then strongly denying that he ever did it if confronted, since he has to maintain his tough underworld reputation and all. But you can do, oddly, chemistry lab work came up when I was looking at calorie count for activities. So, I imagine if Sturge is sitting around, she can mix some potions, or Stong could make one of his strange, smelly swamp stews, in the kitchen, as long as he's not chopping too vigorously or lifting giant pots or anything. And you can wrap presents was another activity that actually came up. So the fabulous presents that Cecilia gave us way back when she first returned to Westgate. Oh, so beautifully wrapped in the torn red robes of dead necromancers. I believe there was a lovely bone flute for Stong, and a necklace with a dragon claw pendant for her sister Artemisia, and a notebook with missing pages for Caliph, and a pair of dice with skulls for Sturge, which is pretty cool. And of course, I got a lovely bag of teeth. But, obviously, those were very carefully and thoughtfully picked out, and not at all just scavenged off the dead bodies of her fallen enemies at last-minute bribes to create a sense of obligation and reciprocal debt in us, since she doesn't believe we could all possibly just be her friends because we like her for herself or something. No, not at all, no. So, anyway, wrapping presents, totally doable in a short or long rest. Killing red wizards and necromancers to get them, only if it's a long rest and you take less than 59 minutes to do so, because at least that's my interpretation. It says if you do any strenuous activity for at least an hour, it ruins your long rest. So I'm thinking if you do it at only 59 minutes, you're good. And which brings us to the last, of course, the most important, which is hanky panky, or getting it on until the break of dawn. Now, if we're talking about just keeping it at the light activity level, such as reading and tending wounds, then, kissing, hugging, and spooning without, any hanky-panky, that's all perfectly fine. As is sort of more passive participation, if you're just basically laying there and, enjoying the fine efforts of your partner. Now, again, long rest says it is interrupted by that hour of strenuous activity, so 59 minutes of strenuous lovemaking is fine on a long rest. Which is basically, a decent quickie if you're Stong, or 59 lovemaking sessions if you're Sturge. Oh, just kidding. We all know you don't have naughty beds, and you don't, you don't get that sort of activity. But again, Sturge, you don't need the naughty bits to benefit from human touch and sensuality. So, or the many other physical means of pleasure, my friends. So anytime you'd like some hands-off coaching or advice, I am here for you, my friend. Anyway, that's my understanding of short and long rest. I hope this was educational for you. And that's the Rogar's recap. Back to you, omniscient narrator god.
The moral of this story appears to be, if you want your rest, stay away from the high constitution character. Okay.